What's up guys, today's video is going to be on my lip tint collection along with swatches and mini reviews of each of them, and I have quite a few to show you guys, so I'm super excited. So when looking for a lip tint, have you ever thought to yourself that there's too many options and you don't know which one's right for you? Well, I hope to help you guys find the perfect lip tint by organizing them into 5 different types. So starting off with the water types, I have 3 to show you guys today, and honestly I'm not a big fan of water type lip tints because I find them to be a bit drying. Some of you guys might enjoy water types because they are easy to work with and also pretty pigmented. So the first lip tint I have to show you guys is the Face Shop Lovely Mix Aqua tint, and this is the first lip tint I've ever bought, and honestly I really like this one, but it does tend to cling onto the dry patches. The applicator is just a regular doe foot and it applies really nicely onto the lips. The color is a nice berryish red color, and I used to be obsessed with this lip tint and I would wear it to school every single day, and it lasted for a pretty decent amount of time, so I would recommend for a daily wear type of lip tint. So the next one I have is the CHATEAU LABIOTTE Wine Lip Tint, and I have it in the color CR01, which is a really nice daily coral type of color. And the packaging is super cute. It's like a wine bottle. Like, how can you not love this? This one isn't as drying as the other 2 lip tints are. Also, I found that this lip tint lasts for a really good amount of time, so you can wear it to school or work or really anywhere without having to really worry about it. The shade in particular isn't super pigmented, so if you're not really into lip tints that are bold or bright, this is a really good one for you. Finally, from this group is the YADAH Be My Tint, and honestly I'm not a big fan of this one because it tends to really grab onto the dry patches on my lips. It also tends to gather near the insides of my lips and it doesn't really look that good. And I do have to say that the color is really nicely pigmented, but it just didn't really work out for me. The longevity though is a pretty good amount of time for a water type tint. I have it in the shade Juicy Orange, and I'm not that big of a fan of oranges, but I just wanted to try it out, and I don't really like it on my lips. It does blend out nicely though, so if you're into gradient type lips, this would be an easy product to use. Next are jelly type lip tints, and these are a really good formula because they're really comfortable to wear and are also really nice for daily wear since they're not super pigmented, and unlike the water type lip tints, these have a bit more of a hydrating feeling on the lips. Starting off with the Chosunga 22 Dual Lip Tint. I really like this one because the tint is super pigmented and lasts for a really long amount of time. And the gloss side is nice, but it is pretty sticky, so I don't really recommend wearing it. The formula is also not drying at all, so if you do have dry lips, this is really nice because it does have a nice hydrating formula to it. Now the color that I'm swatching right now may seem pretty intimidating since it's a hot pink, but on the lips it's a super pretty pink color. Next is the SKINFOOD Tomato Cool Jelly Tint, and this is another perfect one for beginners because it's just a really easy lip tint to work with since it's not super pigmented but still has a really nice color to it. Now this one also has a really nice cooling formula to it, and it doesn't dry out my lips at all. I also think it lasts for a pretty decent amount of time, so you don't have to worry about touching it up later unless you're eating something really messy. The color I have is kind of a pinky red type of color, but on the lips it looks pretty natural and it's perfect for daily wear. Next is the cult favorite Etude House Dear Darling Lip Tint. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of this lip tint because I find it to be kind of drying on my lips, and also I don't know if it's just mine or I got a bad batch or something, but it smells really bad. I find that unlike the other gel tints I have, it bunches near the inner corners of my lips and it doesn't really look that nice. I would say it lasts for a pretty decent amount of time, but once I put it on my lips, it immediately gathers near the inner corners or like the center of my lips, and it doesn't really look that good, so I wouldn't really recommend it. Next are my favorite type of lip tints, which I like to call the glossy type, and this is basically a hybrid of a lip tint and a lip gloss. I really like these because it doesn't dry out my lips at all. They're super long lasting and super pigmented as well. Starting off, I have the ARITAUM color lasting tints, and I'm not quite sure if these are discontinued or not, but if they're not, I would so recommend that you guys try these out because I really love these tints. They're super pigmented and are perfect for both all over the lip color or gradient lips, so it's really up to you what you want to wear. It also has a nice glossy finish on the lips, so if your lips are dry, it doesn't emphasize any dry patches. What I love most about this lip tint is that it has amazing lasting power, so you don't have to worry about touching it up later on because it just really tints your lips and just looks super good throughout the whole entire day. Next are the ARITAUM Color Live lip tints, and these are really similar to the ones that I just showed you guys, except that they're in different packaging. I think that's all that's different about them, but they're pretty much the same formula, so if you're trying to find the ARITAUM Color Lasting Tint but can't find it, this one's pretty exact. The doe foot applicator is a little bit different than the ARITAUM Color Lasting Tint though. It's not as round and is a bit more flat, so it's a lot easier to get into the corners of the lips. And Coral on Top has been my recent daily lip color. I just love the way it looks on my lips. Finally is the MISSHA Lasting Lip Painting Tint, and this one is pretty similar to the past two ones that I just showed. It is super long lasting and the color is really nice and opaque. The applicator wand on this is kind of a diamond type of shape, and it makes it really easy to apply onto the inner corners of the lips, and it just gives a really nice clean finish. The color I have here is Milk Gelato, and I really love how it looks. And as you can see, the packaging comparison to all of these are super similar, so interesting. Next are the creamy types, and these are pretty similar to the glossy types, it's just they don't have the same finish. These have a bit more of a moussey type of formula, just these are a bit more high maintenance, I guess. What I have here is the PERIPERA Ink the Airy Velvet Tint, and I really like this formula because it's a nice moussey type of formula, and it kind of reminds me of the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream if you've ever tried it. The thing is super cute and looks like an ink bottle, so if you're into cute packaging, then that's a plus. What's really cool about this one is that if you do have dry lips, it completely smooths over them and doesn't emphasize any dry patches or anything. Now, since it does have such a moussey texture to it, it doesn't stay on for a super long amount of time, but it does leave a slight tint afterwards. I would recommend this lip tint for the pretty color selection along with the moussey texture, but I wouldn't recommend it if you're looking for something that's long lasting. Next is the YEON Color Fit Tint Rouge, and I really don't like this lip tint because first of all there's sparkles in it, which I don't like, and the shade is a really weird orange color, and the formula just is kind of tacky on the lips. It seems to be like a mousse at first, but then it just ends up making your lips feel really tacky and weird, so I wouldn't recommend this one. But I've never heard of this brand before, or I'm not really sure where they sell it, so I wouldn't recommend it even if you did find it. It does leave a slight tint on the lips, but it's really uncomfortable once it fades off. Finally is the Etude House Lip Tint Vivid Rich Tint, and I really love this one because it does apply on as a moussey type of texture, but it also has a glossy finish to it. This one does have a thicker texture to it though, so it reminds me of a liquid lipstick, and it's super opaque as well. It doesn't last for a very long amount of time though because it is a moussey type of formula and it does tend to move around a bit, so I wouldn't recommend this if you're looking for something that will just stain your lips. The applicator on this one is pretty thin and wide, but it really helps to spread out the product evenly onto the lips. As you can see, I do have a bit of remaining lip tint on my hand from the previous swatch, but the Etude House one is super opaque that it completely covers over it. The final type are Tint Bombs, and these are perfect for people who are on the go and just need a light wash of color without having to worry about using a mirror to apply it on. Obviously from the name, these are a hybrid of lip tints and lip balms, so you don't have to worry about them drying out your lips or anything because they do have a bit more hydration to them. Starting off here, I have the Too Cool for School Dinoplatz Lost Identity Lip Tint, and this is a super cool one because it looks green in the tube, but once you apply it on, it's a really nice daily pink color. I would say that this one though is a bit more of a lip balm than a lip tint since it doesn't really last for a long amount of time. One thing to be careful of though is that it does melt. I kept this in my backpack once and it melted, so that's why it doesn't really look like the usual crayon type it comes in. Next are the ARITAUM Water Sliding Tints, and these are pretty pigmented on the lips. Unlike the Too Cool for School one, this one has a bit more of an oily feeling to it and is a lot thinner than the balmy waxy type the Too Cool for School one has. One thing I dislike about this though is that when you try to twist it up, it doesn't twist back down, so you do have to be careful about that. These do leave a little bit of a tint on the lips but do rub off pretty easily, so you would have to reapply them again. I think it's a good one for beginners just because it's such a simple lip tint to use. Finally is the Halika Water Drop Tint Stick, and this is basically a water type tint in a stick form. I'm not a huge fan of this one since the formula is really thin and does cling to dry patches, but the color is really nice and opaque for a tint stick. I do have to say though that this one does leave a tint behind once it rubs off, but it removes off super easily. So that was all for today's video. I hope you guys found this at least a little bit informative. So comment down below what your favorite type of lip tint is. My personal favorite is glossy tints because they're just like the best. And a quick little announcement, I'm now making Saturdays my new uploading days, so I do have a schedule now and I will be posting. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you guys want to see more of my videos, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!